Hello. A few of you wanted to learn more about polar animals. Now, polar animals to me are the animals who live in the coldest parts of our planet. And these are either at the top of the planet, at the North Pole, or otherwise called the Arctic Circle, which is a circle right on the very top. If you were to look down upon your globe, it'd be right at the very top. Or animals that live at the bottom of our planet on the continent called Antarctica. So let's have a little look. First, let's go to the top of the world, the Arctic animals. Look, there they are. We've got a polar bear, we've got a seal, an Arctic hare, and a walrus. Now, which animal shall we find out about first? I think it has to be the polar bear. The polar bears are the largest carnivores that live on land. Polar bears use the Arctic sea ice to hunt for seals, and seals make up most of what they eat. Believe it or not, they actually have black skin under all of that white fur. And that is because the black is a colour that absorbs the most heat. So when the sun does shine in the Arctic, they are trying to absorb as much heat as they can. But whilst their white fur means that they are camouflaged. They have a layer of what's called blubber underneath their skin. This is a layer of fat to make sure that they're kept as cozy warm as possible. Now, when polar bears have their young are called cubs, they're born between November and January. So right now, cubs might be being born, and their mothers will be hibernating at the moment. So they'll have made a cozy cave in the snow, or if there's somewhere that isn't that much snow, it will just be a cave. And they will have given birth to their babies whilst they're in hibernation. And that means that the babies are as cozy warm as possible. Let's have a little look. Oh, my favourite, reindeer. Now, reindeer are also known as caribou. They feed off moss and grass and plants, and both the boys and the girls, male and female, have big, big antlers. Their hooves are sharp, which helps them walk on ice and rocks. And their babies are called calves. Calves will only get their antlers when they're 2 years old. Oh, let's have a look at this chap. He's called a husky. Looks a little bit like a wolf, doesn't he? Well, huskies are dogs that pull sleds in Arctic regions. It's very easy to get around on the snow on a big sleigh, but you need something to pull it. Now, Santa Claus, we know, uses reindeer, but most people who live in the Arctic will use husky dogs. They're really good at pulling sleds for very long distances. But some people also use them for racing, believe it or not. A bit like race cars go round a track. You can race husky dogs, and that takes place here, even in Scotland. They have a double thick coat to protect them from the harsh weather, and their babies are called pups, and they usually have about 4 or 8 of them, a bit like any other dog. Now, who is this down at the very bottom? He's a seal. Seals in the Arctic live on sea ice and dive into the water through gaps to hunt for fish. And crustaceans. Do you know what a crustacean is? It's anything with a shell, like a crab or a lobster. They pull themselves along their ice with their front flippers. Can you see their front flippers? And they have strong claws. They also have a thick layer of blubber under their skin, which helps keep them warm. Baby seals are born with thick fur to keep them warm, and this thins out as the seals get fatter. And actually, if you've ever seen a picture of a baby seal, they often look really fluffy, whereas the adult seals are really sleek. They are hunted by polar bears, and this is just nature. Polar bears eat seals, and seals eat the crustaceans and the fish. Mother seals carry their young for about 10 months. Then they dig their nests in the sand to have their young. Our humans, our babies, they're only in mummy's tummies for 9 months. So seals have to grow them in their tummies for longer. Oh, that's an interesting fact. I didn't know that. What about this chap? Oh, we've gone to the reindeer again. That I didn't mean to do. Ah, the Arctic hare. Arctic hares are much bigger than your average pet rabbit. So that's Mr. Spiden's rabbit, much larger with much longer ears. They have very thick fur to protect them from the cold. Their fur is blue-grey in the summer, so they can blend in with all the rocks. And then when it starts to be snowy, they change their colour coat. So they shed their dark fur and in comes brand new white fur. And that means that they are camouflaged against the snow. And that word camouflage means that they can hide. They dig burrows beneath the snow, and they are hunted by the Arctic fox. Young Arctic hares are called leverets. So that's a baby hare. And they can see clearly as soon as they are born. Who's this up here? The snowy owl. Snowy owls hunt at day and night. Now that's different from the owls here in Scotland. Their favourite food is lemmings, but they also hunt for other animals such as the Arctic hare. They have leathery legs and toes to keep them warm, and they perch on rocks as there's no trees in the Arctic. Once young owls, called owlets, hatch, the male owl provides food for the female, and young owls which don't leave their nest until for around 25 days. And then owlets are able to fly after 50 days. Wow, that's amazing. Have I done all of them? I think I've missed this one. The Arctic fox. He has the warmest fur on the whole planet. His fur is brown and grey in the summer to blend in with his surroundings, but as soon as the snow comes, he grows in his white fur to make sure he blends in with the snowy land around him. He has a short body with very short legs and short ears and a big bushy tail, which is used as a blanket. So they'll wrap their tails around them to keep them warm. They have excellent hearing and a sense of smell for hunting. And their babies are called pups. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, I enjoyed that. Did you? Now we can go to our next group of animals, and they live in the Antarctic. Now, this is very important. The animals that live at the Arctic and the Antarctic, they don't often meet each other because there's a long, long way in between. Polar bears live in the north. Penguins live in the south. And this can be tricky to remember because some people think that they live in the same place. Let's have a little look now. We've done that one, haven't we? Let's have a little look and see if we can get the next one up. We'll get rid of that one. And here we go, the Antarctic. Are you ready? Here it is. Oh, now look, there are similar animals. This chap over here on the right, he's a seal. And we've heard that seals live in the Arctic too. Remember, we're now at the bottom. We're at the Antarctic. Let's find out who lives here. Right, it says, what do you already know about the Antarctic? Well, it's the polar region at the South Pole, right at the bottom. So there's the North Pole on the very top, the South Pole on the very bottom. Now, the Antarctic covers the continent of Antarctica and some ice shelves and the islands in the Southern Ocean. These islands include one called Scott Island, South Orkney Islands, Balleny Islands, and the South Shetland Islands. Now, we know the Shetland Islands because they are part of Scotland, but these are the South Shetland Islands. Now, can you think of any animals that live there? Well, these are the two animals that immediately spring to my mind. We've got the penguins, oh, so cute, and the seals. Now, this type of penguin, he's called an emperor penguin, and we can identify him because he has orange on his cheeks. And that's a seal. Oh, these are two birds. I wonder what they're called. The albatross. Now, this bird has the largest wingspan of any other bird, and he can fly a long, long way. And this is the South Georgia pipit. Who else do we have? Oh, the Antarctic petrel. And we have the orca, also known as the killer whale. Oh, this chap is interesting. An Antarctic icefish and an Antarctic toothfish. Oh, goodness. Oh, now I think I know what he's called from the Octonauts. He's called a squid. And this one here is called an Antarctic krill. The land animals. Now, this is a midge. We have midges here in Scotland. This is a Belgica, Belgica Antarctica. a midge with wings that are only just over a centimetre long. Did you know that Antarctica is the only continent in the world with no native species of ants? They do have plants that grow in Antarctica too. Quite a lot of the time, the whole continent is covered in snow, but not in the summer months. So you do get plants. And people also live in Antarctica. Nobody lives there permanently. These are scientists, and they are scientists trying to learn more about our planet, about global warming, which is about how our world is slowly warming up, and monitoring the ice, because as our planet is warming up, the ice is melting. So, scientists work in Antarctica to discover new things, to test the ice, to monitor the effects of global warming. Now that there is an iceberg, and I think if you look carefully, there might be penguins on it. Icebergs are huge chunks of ice that may have broken off a great ice shelf, which is called what we call a very, very long piece of frozen land. Frozen ice, the sea actually freezes, and the polar bears need this to be able to hunt for their seal. Sometimes parts of this ice shelf break off, and we call them icebergs. There we go. Wow, I learned so much from that. I hope you did too. Now you might like to go and explore the rest of the links upon this page. Some of them are storybooks, some of them are information programs. So I hope you enjoyed learning more about the polar animals. Thanks for joining me. Bye.